Boom goes the dynamite.
Ka-chow! I got more freaking...
Yeah, cats got you again?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're ruining that sweater your dad got you.
It's a nice sweater, ain't it?
Yeah. And for all of you out there who are thinking like a traditional sweater, this is a hockey sweater.
Yeah. A good old Donnybrook.
Yep.
That's not what that is. But we're going to be Donnybrooking it up in this episode.
I think you mean Donnie booking it up.
Oh! Hey, that was good.
That was good.
That is what they call chemistry.
I mean, they don't call me a master of puns for nothing.
I'm surprised you're not a dad yet.
Me too.
You want to talk about it?
I mean, almost 35, single. All you ladies out there. It's so funny. When we were in Miami, my dad was trying to hook me up with all these girls down there.
Rightfully so.
I know. It's like he really wants me to get married. I want to be married, but, can't force it.
Remember what our friend said in Miami, what the norm is there with your wife.
Like 7 girlfriends?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I should have gotten a picture of him for you. Because the second time I went in, when he was there, I told you he had like a full beard, right?
No.
Yeah. So I was talking to him like, hey, you remember me? Me and my buddy we were on a road trip, stopped by here a few years ago. And he's like, yeah, no. But I'm like, well,
we remember you.
How's your gift shop doing? He's like, it's okay. It's across the street. When it closed, I just come over here, smoke cigars. But anyways, he had like a legitimate beard. It was kind of like Castaway beard, where it was just like everywhere.
It wasn't tamed?
It was not tamed, no.
That's a little sad.
You know what, though? He gave me a free cigar, which I smoked the other day, and it was unreal. It was awesome. Yeah.
Lucky dog.
Yeah. But, yeah, we got our Topo Chico.
Yeah.
The unofficial sponsor. Unfortunately, Bo, what are you doing?
Oh, it's all over the master board. Oh, jeez.
Oh, no.
Oh, God.
But no, Topo Chico is the unofficial sponsor until they at some point become the official sponsor.
Yeah, I got people asking me who's sponsoring us, and I say nobody, and then they scoff at us.
Yeah. You know what I'm thinking, too? Maybe we should give a shout out to Mellow Mushroom. Maybe they could be a potential sponsor.
Yeah, that was a delicious pizza from there. We got a Merry Prankster.
Merry Prankster.
Gosh.
Yeah.
A little bit more. We want a little bit more garlic on the crust. A little bit more garlic on it.
So if you're in Mellow Mushroom Corporate, come across this, add a little more garlic to your crust.
We're not really doing ourselves any favors. We're saying sponsor us, but we're calling them out on their amount of garlic.
You know what, though? I disagree with that. Because, one, we don't know that garlic was in the original recipe for the crust. And if you're in corporate, they're always looking for ways of improving their product. So we're giving them constructive criticism.
This is why people hate us.
So you want to hear my funny story about the gym today?
Yeah.
It's quick.
Take as much time as you need.
I think it's funny. But then again, I thought a lot of things are funny, but then when I open my mouth, people are like, what is that? No, I was just walking around. No joke. I smelled cilantro.
That's a good problem to have.
No, I've never even heard of cilantro deodorant, cilantro body spray.
What if he has his own, garden?
He's just, chopping up cilantro between sets.
Yeah.
He just pumps out 10 on the bench and then just, moves over to a cutting board, just chopping it up.
Anyway, so he smelled like cilantro?
Well, I don't know who smelled it. I just know I was walking by the benches. I just got a giant whiff of cilantro. And it wasn't like a one-time thing. It was like every time I went over to that area, it smelled like pure cilantro.
Some people give off this, musky scent when they sweat. Or, when you could tell when someone's been outside in the sun all day.
Yeah.
But this guy just really smells like herb. Good old cilantro.
It might have been a woman. I don't know. Like I said, I don't
Either
know who
way.
it was. It was like an aura. But.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. When was the last time we did this? few months ago.
Yeah.
Like October, November?
No, it was right before Thanksgiving.
Okay. So it's been about 4 or 5 months?
Yep.
Okay.
So, if you've stuck around for this long, thanks for staying around.
Yes.
And if you're with us for the first time, we apologize. We don't really mean to be this inconsistent with our programming.
You know what,
but
though?
Life happens that way.
I don't know if inconsistent's the right word.
You know?
No. I mean, we're reading tomes. We said we would do 2 episodes for each.
Right.
You know, honestly, for each one, we've averaged about a few months in between.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. Okay, say I know I'm right. I'm right like 99.9% of the time.
That'll be the last time you're right in this entire episode.
Oh. All right.
Yep. So, if you're with us for the, as you can tell, this is Dickens Part 2, Electric Boogaloo. We're going to be discussing...
Ooh, I don't know if we should call it Part 2.
Well, it's Part 2 for us.
Well, I don't know.
2 of 3?
Well, the first one was a conclusion to Proust / intro to Dickens. So do we want to call it 1 or 0, or what do we want to call it?
We'll call it 1.5. Like Lion King 1.5.
What, this one or the previous one?
This one.
I'm okay with that. Episode 1.5.
All right.
You know what? That'll make the title.
I agree. So we're going to be discussing today the first half of Charles Dickens' David Copperfield, his magnum opus.
So there are 64 chapters, so we're going to be discussing more or less the first 32. I've read 33, Bo's read like 39, but...
Yeah, but who's counting?
Who's counting?
You could tell that one of us is enjoying this way more than the other.
Yeah, you know what? You know what cracks me up, Bo? Every time you tell me like where you're at, you tell me the page number, it's like, we have freaking different copies.
Yours is old. I got the Barnes & Noble $11 edition.
I got this one. This was one I think my grandfather actually had. When he passed away, he had it in his house. So I picked it up. It's pretty nice, though. Pocket library. Guess how much this cost back in the day?
$3.99.
75 cents.
Oh.
But it was resold for $4.
Gosh.
So
you know what they call that?
Inflation.
Inflation. And what's that a product of?
Too much spending. Too much money in the economy.
Cap! Yeah, you're right.
Wait, you saying capitalism?
No, I'm saying cap, as in, no, dog, you lie.
But how is inflation not caused by more money in the economy?
I mean, it is. But then what else is it also caused by?
What else? What other cause would there be?
What else wouldn't there be? I'm going to do this all night.
Go ahead.
Anyway, if you stuck around for our last time we talked about the intro to Charles Dickens, you probably thought, wow, these guys really hate each other. But you'll be pleased to know that is literally how we operate. So if you were put off by that, just know everything's good. Nothing happened.
I think we mentioned it on the last episode too. We
did, but I also like to reiterate.
You don't know what I'm about to say.
Oh.
Idiot. Jumping the gun here.
I'm coming at you. I'm just freaking ready.
No. The moment I think that defined our relationship, it's completely platonic, by the way.
Yes.
Bo's got a girlfriend. I've already said I'm single. Like, just want to establish that.
Yeah.
Now, we went on a road trip together in 2020, and we were in Tampa.
It was 2021.
That's right. 2020 was my road trip.
Yes,
2021. My bad. And, we're just in Tampa, looking for a place to eat. Started talking politics. Started getting a little heated. And Bo's like, I don't know if I want to do this. I'm like, Bo, it's okay, buddy. We're friends. So we had a great night. We went to a sports bar.
Yeah.
Had wings.
Delicious wings.
Talked politics. Bo tried to convince me that Noam Chomsky was like the greatest thing ever, greatest theorist ever. And I'm like, all right, Bo. But long story short.
One of them. Mm-hmm.
Long story short, we disagreed vehemently, but we debated like gentlemen.
Yes, we did.
And we still do.
Absolutely.
Even though I think you're wrong on just about everything politically.
Right back at you. And it's only going to get... Ow! Fuck. Fudge.
Language, Bo.
Yeah, I didn't mean that.
This isn't school.
Like the headphones bent into my ear.
That's an excuse.
It is.
Yeah.
It really
Suck
is.
it up.
So, with that, you want to get started?
Let's do it.
Okay. How about you start off? Because you're the one who's
so my overall
adversarial.
thoughts. I don't know if I'm adversarial.
Adversarial to the memory of Charles Dickens.
I mean, yeah, you could say that. I mean, we talk about separating the art from the artist all the time. So, I am not a fan of this. I'm fully aware that it is largely held as one of the greatest works of literature ever. I don't understand it. Admittedly, I don't do well when there's a zillion characters. I just don't think I'm a Victorian literature person. I'm used to novels where the author kind of intersperses commentary on human behavior, and in this, it's all just like one big autobiography. And it's just like this happens and that happens and this happens.
Hold on, restate that other point. Did just now.
I'm a much bigger fan of authors who insert commentary
On what?
like just human nature,
human
just
condition?
life in general.
I think
whereas this is more observational, and you have to actually think about it. So call me a lazy reader, call me whatever you want, but hasn't been a single sentence in here where he writes about the human condition or.
Oh, Jarte, my friend. My friend.
Not the.
I wouldn't say you're a lazy reader. I also don't know if this is recording right. Like do I sound weird to you?
No.
Okay, that's just me then. I wouldn't say you're a lazy reader. I don't think anybody who follows this podcast would say you're a lazy reader.
No.
But I do think you are missing the point that all of these characters, I think, are they have the specific traits to them where they signify a greater meaning.
That's not what I'm saying, though.
But isn't that what you just said?
No.
What did you say then?
So, for example, Infinite Jest.
Right. That has a lot of characters.
It does. But interspersed with it, there's commentary on life. David Foster Wallace's own commentary on life.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it may have been spoken through his characters.
Right.
But there's also a bunch of text that was outside the characters in narration. Okay, in the recognitions, there was a lot of that. It was obvious. It's much more just like characters living their lives, and they all have different personalities, and Dickens does not speak directly to the reader.
I disagree heavily on that. Okay. One is because, it's Dickens as Copperfield, and he's the one directing his life. We've already established that there's overlapping elements where it's kind of autobiographical.
Yeah.
Dickens will pluck the best attributes of himself and put it on David, right? Because there's some things in Dickens' life.
That's observational, though.
Right, but what he's talking about, though, is his worldview. And he expresses that worldview through the characteristics, the physical traits, and the motivations of certain characters through their name, through their class, and how they interact with David himself. I think you could pretty much see how Dickens views certain people. You could tell he has a problem with authority. He especially one like schoolmasters, or just structural people like in general. I think with Murdstone, the first headmaster he was with, whose wife was better to David than the actual. I forgot his name though. So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I like where we're heading though.
But I still think you don't understand what I'm saying.
No, I'm understanding what you're saying. I am just saying that I think you're missing it a tiny bit. I think you're not giving Dickens enough credit.
No, I realize I'm not.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. Like,
well, I think I'm elaborating on that then.
I think you are You have a more of a keen eye for observational commentary, whereas I like just straight direct commentary.
But would you call Infinite Jest direct commentary, though?
Not in the whole, but there were definitely sections where Wallace talked about human nature. Like, for example, the passage about, how everybody worships something.
Right.
Like, there's nothing like that in Copperfield. It has to also be inferred or observed.
Well, I think that's also because you're getting it as this is a first-person narration, while as in Infinite Jest, it's like omniscient, right? Like the narrator knows absolutely everything that's going on in their inner workings. Like Dickens is when Charles is hanging around with what's his face,
Your mom?
Yeah, when Dickens when Charles is hanging out with my mom.
Sorry, Mrs. Hill.
Yeah, she's a saint.
I'll give you more bread and butter next time you come to BC's.
I don't think they'll be back anytime soon.
Really? They had that bad of a service? I thought I gave them good service.
Well, you were the best part.
Okay.
They keep saying that.
Yeah.
It's the headmaster. What's his name? He was really good to David. He was one who was creating the dictionary. He had the much younger wife, and the cousin wants to marry the wife and trying to break up that relationship. But he expresses his own limitations when she's looking at her husband in a certain way, and it makes David think. And he mentions it, but he doesn't understand quite yet what that look was that she gave this character. So I think
what are you getting at?
What I'm getting at is that you can't compare the two because one's narrator is completely aware of all inner workings because that's how Foster Wallace viewed time, compared to Dickens, who's articulating the past through the character at a certain moment. The omniscience is the dead just walking over on Infinite Jest and being like, hey, this is what it is.
Two things. One, two completely totally different styles. I'm aware of that.
Right.
Even though I'm crapping on Dickens, I realize he's legendary. There's but at the same time, if this is an autobiography, essentially,
yeah, I sound
writing,
much better now. I
He's
just really
writing
turn
this.
on my headphones.
Thank you for interrupting me.
Yep.
If this is autobiographical, he's writing this in his old age, recounting this. So he has lived a full life. So why wouldn't he interject commentary on human nature? All I'm saying is I'm not a fan of this style of writing.
I get you. But there's also been wonderful moments where he breaks off chapters, where he talks about little Emily. Do I have this? I think I wrote this down.
I believe it's Emily.
Little Emily.
It's EM''ly.
Yeah, I'm saying it.
You're saying Emily. It's Emily.
Emily.
Agree or disagree?
Hold on a second. I got to find it. Maybe I didn't. But he's talking about little Emily. He pretty much foreshadows that something tragic is going to happen to her.
Mm-hmm.
And he tells the reader, I don't want to talk about this. If I think about this, then I'm going to be hit with these waves of just melancholy. Mm-hmm. Very much paraphrasing. That's not the exact wordage. But he says something along those lines where he does not want to admit. And that's another thing with David I've realized. Is that he is not a reliable narrator at all. Because he does not admit to some of the things that he may have done wrong. Mm-hmm. And one of those is his introducing to the Peggotties to Steerforth.
Mm-hmm.
No, you don't. Well, here's a good quote. I guess we can kind of riff off of if we felt like it. I have stood aside to see the phantoms of those days go by me. They are gone. And I resume the journey of my story.
Okay.
It's a great line, right?
I mean, whatever.
Oh, here we go. Oh, frick. Found it.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Hit me with it.
I'm sorry, everyone. The remembrance of that life is fraught with so much pain to me, with so much mental suffering and want of hope, that I have never had the courage even to examine how long I was doomed to lead it, whether it lasted a year or more or less. I do not know. I only know that it was and ceased to be, and that I have written, and there I leave it. So he's manifesting it onto the page, and he will leave it at that. Now it has given a different life, and it's given him, David, as a writer, it's given it a deeper meaning that he's willing to go to. And that's a limitation of David as the narrator. You understand what I'm kind of getting at? Bit. And that's one of the things I actually love about this novel, is that it's so much in this flawed vein of, especially where we're at now, or the first half of it is just this kid just trying to figure out what's right and wrong, right? And he's at this stage of early capitalism, where society kind of is really just tipping itself over its head. Like, power has now shifted to different modes, right? So the exploitation, specifically at this rate, and I'm going to use it specifically in a historical sense when I say exploitation, not overarching, but in this sense, right? Human beings were simply exploiting one another based on their class, or where they were in their class, right? So what is Murdstone's function? What is he as a character? What does he do? I
don't know. You know me. I'm not good at when there are a zillion characters.
Okay. So Murdstone was the man that...
He was the headmaster, right?
No. That was...
Was he the lawyer apprentice?
No. He was David's stepfather.
Okay.
When David's father died, this man started coming around. And to be honest, for the...
Oh, yeah. He didn't like David, did he?
No.
Okay.
And who's one of my favorite actors?
Joaquin Phoenix?
No, the other one.
Robert Pattinson?
Oh, God, no. Well, he's not bad. The other one. Seriously. You bought a book of him for me.
Oh. He's an old guy, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Richard E. Grant.
Oh, yeah.
That's who I think of Murdstone when I think of Murdstone.
Okay.
So, I mean, his name literally sounds like murder. Right? This dude comes around. He wants to send himself on an upward trajectory when it comes to in his place in the economy. And he wants to do that, right, through the invasion of the home. That's all he wants. He's not providing any actual value in terms of what he can do for society. This man is legit just a leech and a parasitic life form, right? And we see that juxtaposed later on. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here, but we see that juxtaposed with Uriah Heep, who becomes the antagonist of the second part, where Uriah is infiltrating through the business into the family, where as Murdstone wants to infiltrate the business or the family through. And I find that really interesting. They're the same character, essentially. And that's reasons why David absolutely hates both of them.
Okay.
And I like that.
Yeah.
That sounds terrible. And I like that. I just find that wonderful. That's my thesis. I like it. Deep analysis.
Yeah. You know what I think of when I hear the name Uriah Heep?
The prog rock band?
That, but cross between Jethro Tull and Imogen Heap.
Yeah.
You know the Dodger organist plays that sometimes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I used to hate Jethro Tull for a long time,
They're so good.
but I really love them. I have Thick as a Brick, like an original copy of that, and I really do cherish it.
Yeah. Bo, you're thick as a brick.
I am thick as a brick.
You're a stocky fellow.
Darn right.
Boom.
Let's see.
Oh, speaking, I don't mean to interject.
I'm sorry.
Actually, I kind of do.
You're fine.
But at some point during this podcast, because you mentioned Richard Grant, I have a little thing I'd like to give you.
During this specific episode?
Yeah, I mean it's not yours. I just want to show it to you.
Oh,
it's the thing it's wrapped up in my in Spanish paper for my Spanish class because I didn't want to give it to you. I want to be a surprise, even though it's not a gift. It's not even. I don't even own it. Just you'll see.
Okay. I was like, oh crap, I'm sorry, I didn't get you nothing. So I think we're jumping ahead of ourselves. So what exactly has happened in the plot?
He was born.
Boom. He was born.
His mom died.
Well, his aunt comes around on the day that he's born. He's born, sees that he's not a girl, and leaves.
Yep.
Just abruptly goes away. Yeah.
Yep.
This dude starts randomly showing up, brings his sister around. The sister and Mr. Murdstone are abusive towards David on a psychological level.
Yep.
And when he tries and reprimands him, David bites him to where it becomes a physical abuse and sends him off to a home where he, first off, Pagati, his
Kind of the
nanny,
servant, nanny, whatever. Yeah.
has to take him away to her family's home.
They become really good friends.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah. And while they're away, that's when he marries David's daughter or David's mom, and then sends him off to a boarding school where he meets a younger or an older kid named Steerforth, and that's where we get introduced to him. And a couple scenes later, Steerforth is pretty much antagonizing a teacher there named Mr. Mel, because Steerforth found out that Mel uses his money to help his old mother who lives in one of these like workhouses. So David idolizes Steerforth because of it, yet simultaneously feels terrible because he knows that Mr. Mel isn't really the wrong person. Mm-hmm. But Mr. Mel doesn't like Steerforth. The headmaster loves Steerforth. Right?
Yeah.
But David idolizes this guy. And then he's sent home because his mother is dying or is dead. Right?
Yep.
And it's interesting because he had a brother who also died and was buried with the mother. And it's interesting to see that when David looks into the coffin before they bury them, he kind of articulates to himself that his brother's really not a separate entity. That is David himself and his view. Mm-hmm. Because he never had the childhood that he probably should have gotten. And his mother was taken away from him. And I don't think he ever forgives anybody for that.
Yeah.
Because it's one part, it's like poetic to David, but it's also kind of showing like David's kind of full of himself a bit because like he doesn't really see that that's his brother. He sees it as an extension upon himself. So it's kind of tragic.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't really grow up together. So I can kind of see.
True.
They didn't really develop that bond. Nevertheless, they're brothers. So,
Yeah. So gets sent to an actual working house, this factory, which is like a blackening factory, right?
Sounds right.
No, I think it's like a wine factory. It's something to do with wine, I think. Anyway.
It's a factory.
Yeah. Poor conditions. And David then decides that he's sick of the life that he's given. So he's going to do anything he can to get the life he wants. So he's going to try and find his Aunt Betsy Trotwood. Mm-hmm. And does.
Yep.
And she takes care of him. And then while Murdstone shows up to try and take him back, we have this wonderful cathartic moment where she just freaking goes off on him and tells him exactly what's wrong with him. And Mr. Dick, who is the voice of reason in terms of decision making, confirms this.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that there's no gray area when it comes to the characters of Murdstones. They're flat out wrong. But there's a gray area when it comes to Miss Trotwood. Because she starts out pretty egalitarian, but then warms to David.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Dickens is pretty choosy on who gets nuance and who doesn't, I think. And then David gets to go to this wonderful new school where he makes wonderful new friends, becomes an apprentice.
Studies law.
Isn't really good at law.
And he does become a lawyer, right?
An apprentice.
But it talks
he doesn't
about
get paid, so he's not a lawyer.
It talks about how he's like in the courtroom and stuff, though.
Yeah, but he's not getting paid because Spenlow
Yeah.
and his partner are kind of stingy dudes.
Okay.
Anyway, are you at the point where it turns out that his aunt has pretty much lost all her money? Did you get to that? You have no idea, do you?
I have no idea.
Oh, God.
I'm on chapter 34.
So, yeah.
My aunt astonishes me. Maybe that's a chapter he finds out.
No. I find out.
I don't know.
But has he become attracted to Dora?
Yes.
Okay. And he pretty much uses Agnes as a sister? Friend zones Agnes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Tragic.
actually, as much as I am completely unenthralled with his diction, there was a passage about his love for Nora that was very well written. Anyways, talking about how just basically his blood just flows for her in every part of his body.
Oh, yeah.
But honestly, that was the really the only 2 or 3 sentences out of the entire thing thus far that really stimulated me. Really got my mind going.
I got a couple of good ones. There was one that specifically that I just adored, and I think it's a good topic of discussion in terms of working, in terms of personal struggle, personal life, and how to balance that. Actually, I think it's a couple quotes, but let's focus on a few things here. So, do you notice that all of these characters have different names for David? And David mentions this a couple times.
I didn't pick up on it, but I guess when I
didn't?
look back...
So there's Davy, there's David.
Yeah.
His aunt calls him Trot.
Yeah. That's pretty normal, though.
Right.
I mean,
no, I know, but like that. But everyone has nicknames, right?
Yep.
But this is a specific point of emphasis from Dickens's part. He wants you to notice these things because as we're journeying, we're trying to find. David's trying to find out who he is.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the kind of the point of this whole novel.
Yeah.
Because he says like I'll be either the hero or the villain. And that's up for you to decide. Like he's or maybe not for us to decide, but him to figure it out as he's writing this down. So we get all these names. He's called Trotwood by Agnes and her family and his aunt. He's called Daisy by Steerforth, and that has a lot of layers to that.
Okay.
Forgot what Murdstone called him. Think like a runt. Something bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, and then Uriah calls him Master Copperfield instead of Mister.
Yeah.
I only Master Copperfield. I mean Mr. Copperfield.
Yeah.
I just think of King Cruel anytime I see Uriah Heep. I love King Cruel. He's one of my favorite artists.
Yeah.
But I can't get the picture of him as Uriah Heep out of my mind. And I feel bad because I don't think that matches up with the two people. Like Uriah Heep's pretty much a deplorable person, but that's who it's that's the vision I have in my head. So there's a big moment when David is an adolescent. A chapter where he's kind of older now, maybe 21, maybe a little bit younger than 21, where he runs into Steerforth again, and Steerforth and him become drinking buddies. Steerforth brings a couple of other friends along, and David, for the first time, is obscenely drunk. I mean, just
Yeah.
3
Slosh.
sheets to the wind. Yeah. Sloshed out of his mind.
Sauced.
He's lost in the sauce.
Inebriated.
Yeah.
Gonzo.
He professes his admiration and love, platonic love,
Yeah.
although some debate differently, that he has for Steerforth,
Yeah.
right? And he goes to this like opera house to watch this performance, just intoxicated.
Mm-hmm.
And who does he run into?
Your mom?
No.
Who's you running into, Bo?
Agnes.
Okay.
And what does she say to David? Beware of your friend Steerforth.
In that voice?
Yeah, like that Robert De Niro voice. Robert De Niro as Al Capone voice.
Yeah.
Watch out for your friend Steerforth. She is the first, like, in your face, like reality check of who exactly Steerforth is.
Yeah.
So now the nickname Daisy, right,
Yeah.
has another layer to it. You just think it's just like this childhood thing, like he just thinks kindly of, like he thinks he's, delicate maybe or whatever. Like he wants to protect David.
Yeah.
But you kind of start guessing whether he calls him Daisy because he has no respect for David and considers him fragile and manipulated. Like he can just tear him up whenever he wants. Love that. Then he introduces them to the Pagani family, who have taken David in as one of their own.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Pagani has Ham and little Emily, his niece and nephew, whose fathers have died tragically.
Yeah.
You kind of get this feeling that Steerforth is really into Emily. I mean, Emily's written to be this beautiful woman.
Well, David's into Emily too.
Oh, yeah. David falls in love with so many people in this.
And then she gets married and he falls in love with Nora. And we don't know how that's going to turn out. Or Dora.
Yeah.
Dora the Explorer.
But there's another character. There's another friend of theirs, of the Paganis, who tragically is abused, and she becomes, I think becomes a prostitute at some point, and David and Ham have to save her from committing suicide, and it's this really tragic. Yeah, I keep saying tragic. I need to find something else to say.
Saddening. Sad.
But we realize why she, little Emily wants to protect her. Mm-hmm. But obsessively so. And that's a fierce kind of clue. Like, there might be something a little bit more to Emily here. Mm-hmm. Because then she keeps saying how much she apologizes for how she's a terrible fiance, cousin, niece, daughter, essentially, to Mr. Pedagatti. And you're like, well, why is she reacting like this? It's because somebody was lurking in the shadows. Mm. And then what happens? She runs off. With who? Steerforth.
Okay.
You pick up on all this, right? This all happened.
I know she ran off.
Yeah, she ran off with Steerforth.
Yeah, okay.
And why does Steerforth do this? What is the kind of person that Steerforth is? He's a classist, misogynistic, D, B, grade A jerk.
Okay. I mean, she could just love him too.
No, well, she could. But that's also the thing, is what exactly do we talk about when we talk about love? Because maybe in the moment she's in love, but looking back, David was in love with pretty much every woman he was in cahoots with. Mm-hmm. But he's like, yeah, I didn't love him.
Yeah.
Even with his admiration for Dora, in a sense, he understood that he probably didn't love her enough. Mm-hmm. Right? So Steerforth's character, right? That was the ugliest yawn I've ever seen in my life. It looked like you're about to sneeze.
Yeah, I'm tired.
It's all right. Steerforth is a classist jerk. His mother adores him. and she never sees anything wrong with what he does. He assaulted his nanny as an adolescent.
Okay.
Leaves her a scar.
Yeah.
And even she's in love with him. Okay.
Hey, the dude's got Riz.
He's got so much riz, bro. Anyway, so
as the kids say,
on God, for real.
Facts. Fire.
Truth. Anyway, I really do want to get into like Steerforth is like the most disappointing character in fiction because you want to believe he's your friend, and then you realize that not only does he betray David, but he betrays you as the reader.
Yeah.
Because you want to believe in this guy. But yeah, he has a low view on anybody that is below his class level. And it's pretty much told, like, his mom is loaded.
Okay.
So he doesn't value anything about humble working class people.
Okay.
And there are multiple Steerforths out there. Steerforth is a great placeholder and example for a lot of guys around their like 20s, or like, in my opinion, like that kind of like fake 1%er type dudes, like in my mind. Like guys who want to get into Wall Street. That's Steerforth.
Yeah.
You know, they want to make it in New York and all that, go to clubs all the time and like misuse everyone around them. All their friends are commodified and used. And that's what they're there for.
Okay.
Right? The Bugattis live in a boat. Right?
Yeah.
To David, that is an idyllic sense, right? Like of environment. It's this ideal world that he has where it's not quite of, societal norms. Like no one lives in a boat. No. You live in a house.
Well, it's not a boat on the water either. It's
right?
Like
Yeah.
Boat on the shore.
But once Steerforth comes around, and then once it's revealed what's happening, when we find out that Steerforth took Emily, his perception of that environment changes. Okay. Right. So certain things don't have guys like Steerforth or these characters that misuse their. Dickens is pretty much telling you that the more you commodify in life, the less value you give life. Because Steerforth does not care about Emily. Yeah, and that's what Mr. Pagani says, right? Yeah. And he's gonna go to the ends of the earth to find her and beat the crap out of him. Because he took her honor away. Yeah, that's a big deal in this time period.
Oh yeah.
And you didn't get any of that?
No. But like I said, I don't think I'm good at like reading like Victorian literature or things where it's just like this happens and that happens and that happens. Like I need commentary. It's kind of like in movies. Like I never get attached to characters. I'm more like, don't get me wrong, I love a great story, but the more important thing to me is how it's shot, how everything fits, like the other aspects of it. Different people have different strokes, different folks. I just don't think I'm cut out for Victorian lit.
Probably not, and that's fine. I'm not trying to like shame you for not liking it. I just want to keep diving into these things. Shame. Okay, good. I just want to make sure I'm not making you uncomfortable.
I'm just worried I'm looking like stupid out here.
No,
you're
not stupid.
Yeah, and you're like, you get that?
I thought I looked stupid with Proust.
Yeah,
I didn't know half the crap was going on in that one.
Yeah,
there's only one thing I got out of that, and it really wasn't the Madeleine cookie quote. It was the other one. It was asparagus.
Oh yeah.
It's like the greatest joke ever.
Yeah.
Let's see. I have a quote. It's in relation to little Emily.
Okay.
Little Emily.
Emily.
There has been a time since when I have wondered whether if the life before her could have been revealed to me at a glance, and so relieved as that a child could fully comprehend it. I wrote these out. I didn't type it out. I should have typed it. And if her preservation could have depended on a motion of my hand, I have held it up to save her. There has been a time since, I do not say it lasted long, but it has been, when I have asked myself the question, would it have been better for little Emily to have, what is that? Had the waters close above her head that morning in my sight? And when I have answered yes, it would have been. So I think that's alluding to a different episode in the novel.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to get into it that much, but you can tell that David feels remorse.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the deeper we go into the novel, the more he's willing to admit to himself a little bit that he did have an influence on the Pagattis in a negative sense.
Yeah.
Like he was the one that introduced Steerforth into their life.
Okay.
And David really does not want to admit that it was him who did that. And that's the thing about David, is that he just keeps getting used and used and used by people because no one really values, or certain people in that life don't value David as an individual. Mm-hmm. His aunt does. Agnes does. Pagatti does. Micawber even does. Micawber idolizes David and David's youth because Micawber is always in debt.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, I find that tragic. You want another quote?
Hit me with it.
All right, this is a little later on.
Prove me wrong.
We're going to go... This is a...
I mean, he probably already had.
This is a trifecta over here. This is a trifecta.
Trifecta.
All right? So this is later on. This is when he's talking about Dora.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And this is when we find out that Betsy doesn't really have a whole lot of money anymore.
Okay.
And so David's now going to work as an apprentice still.
Mm-hmm.
But then he's also going to work with his old headmaster who's working on his dictionary.
Okay.
Right? Because he really wants to make a life for him and Dora. And I want you to tell what kind of imagery he's using here and what kind of action he's giving it. Okay. What kind of verbiage it is, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to be cutting at those trees in the forest of difficulty under circumstances that should prove my strength. That's one. Another is, what I had to do was to take my woodman's axe in my hand and clear my own way through the forest of difficulty by cutting down the trees until I came to Dora. That's another one. Number 3. Every scratch in the scheme was a gnarled oak in the forest of difficulty, and I went on cutting them down, one after another, with such vigor that in 3 or 4 months I was in a condition to make an experiment on one of our crack speakers in the Commons. So forget that last part. So what is David doing?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Pining for Dora.
Yeah. But maybe I should have given this some more context before I start reading it off. No, I did. So he's going to work himself to death.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he's so in love with her.
Yeah. But he also realizes that he needs to make I'll just get a little murky in it.
For context, that last line, we're in a room with a bunch of turtles. So
yeah, I got 2 turtles. Bob and Linda are here with us talking about...
Oh, look at Bob's waving at us. Hey, Bob.
Hey, Bob. Linda over there. So David realizes if he's going to move on or progress in this life, he has to do it through work.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to up his position because Spenlow, at this point, Dora and her father,
mm-hmm.
are rich. And he wants to be just like that.
Okay.
He wants to be part of a higher class of being. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to do anything he can. He's going to hustle. He's going to grind. He's going to use that axe. He's going to chop down trees of life. What he calls the trees of difficulty. Because all for him, life has been difficult. And I've had this conversation with somebody because those quotes were affecting me. Because I realize we still use those kinds of like motivational aphorisms of like, we like to talk about the grind.
Yeah.
Like, you don't sleep. You got to wake up early. You got to hit the gym. You got to work 12 hours, 2 jobs, you know. And it's just a bunch of BS.
Oh, here we go.
And I want everyone to hear this. This is how close I'm going to get to this freaking microphone. Because there's some impressionable people who are listening to us who do adore us. If anyone tells you that kind of lifestyle is worth it, they're lying to you. There's nothing wrong with setting up boundaries. There's nothing wrong with saying, I need a break. Because when you do this, and what's gonna happen with David.
Mm-hmm.
I know it because I know what happens.
Yeah.
He's gonna get fed up. He's going to get an tunnel vision on one set. He's creating one path, and he is shrinking his whole world. This forest of difficulty is a forest of life, and David is now no longer taking in anything else in life.
Mm-hmm.
He's getting lost in these woods, but he's not taking it in. He's not paying attention. And I find that sad because we see it today more than ever, because that's what most of social media bullcrap is.
Mm-hmm.
It's trying to get you to work your butt off for nothing, for peas in the pod, pennies on the dollar. Bullcrap. See how fired up I am?
You're very fired up.
That quote really got to me. I mean, it stuck.
Mm-hmm.
All those quotes. I was like, yes, this is terrible. And we still try and pull this on kids today. It's this toxic sense of, not only, to me, it's mainly like toxic masculinity type thing. But it's also this toxic form of like, or, progression, or this toxic, like, I'm not saying that if somebody's telling you, like, giving you life tips to be a positive person, there is a point of toxic positivity, right? There's nothing wrong with having it in doses, but when anyone like tells you gotta openly work harder than the person next to you, I mean, that just devalues everyone around you. It devalues the moments in your life that you should be taking listen of or note of. Yes, I've woken the beast up. Let's go.
I would agree that people are too busy, for sure. I think it all depends on what your end goal is. I think when people say to, grind and work hard, it's, if you're going to get what you want, you have to put in the time and work. I don't think there are not many people saying you need to be busy just to be busy, if that makes any sense.
Elaborate just a little bit. Hold on a second. You got to riff a little bit.
Okay. Well, I'm thinking like, for example, you played sports, right? I played sports. There's nothing wrong with saying you want to, work harder than your teammate. Because, it's just like, it's basically a way of saying, go as far as you can and then go beyond that. Because, we're all capable, at least mentally, of going further than we think. So, for example, it's like, when you're in the weight room doing that one extra rep, like, you don't think you can do it, but if you really think you can do it, like you really tell yourself, you can do it. So I think there's nuances to it. I don't think it's as black and white as you interpret it. Does it make any sense? I guess I got to riff some more.
No, I got you. So, that is a good point. But I think...
How could you rebut that?
Because you could say sports and life are two different.
I think the principles hold the same.
Maybe they have certain principles, but they don't. They don't have the same like.
Well,
I play football, right?
Yeah.
After baseball, like I was like a big football. Like I was really good at football.
Yeah.
Okay. The imagery and the lessons that we were taught in football, and they still do this on multiple different levels: professional, college, high school, Pop Warner,
Pee Wee.
they have the same allegories that they use.
Yeah.
Football is compared to warfare.
That's fair.
We see it.
We
We see it. In terms of the game fundamentals wise, and we see it like in terms of like on the television, the images, flyovers. We have all these patriotic days and games, and when a guy wants to take a knee, we have to freaking lambast the dude because he doesn't stand for anything.
No. Okay. Well, I'll let you go. All right.
That's sarcasm in my voice. If no one, I know no one's seeing me, but that was total sarcasm because big fan of Cap. But that was such a big deal. It's like we can't handle it. We have like the basic freedom in this country, and he can't use it. Crap, people, double standard. That's beside the point. Where was I going?
What are you getting at?
This is what it is. Having a conversation with me, isn't it? What I'm trying to get at, right, is that these lessons of like domination, you have to dominate your opponent, stuff like that, does not actually help me in terms of collaborating with people. Maybe with teammates, but when we're striving for a goal, right, and there's no adversary in most people's lives other than the ones that we give more credence to. What was that for? When I was 14 years old, I hit a kid so hard, I broke their back.
Okay.
Like legit had to call an ambulance, stretcher.
Yeah.
I mean, totally wrecked that kid.
Okay.
What good did that do me?
It's
a fun memory, and it's like, or not fun memory, but I mean, it's like I was good at something. That doesn't. I don't learn a skill from that. I feel pretty bad about that most days. Yeah. Maybe baseball. Well, we could use baseball as maybe a more enlightened form of.
All right, let me drop this bomb on you, Bo, because I think you're a little off here.
I'm so on right now.
In your own little mind. I think in any time you have, okay, let's take the example of war.
Okay.
Because you said, football's compared to, it's like a battle, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not an actual like battle. Like no one's shooting at each other, but it's in a war, one side wins, the other side loses. In every sport, one side wins, one side loses. You got to work with your teammates. They're like your brothers. Boom. It's not an actual war.
Right. No, I get that. We're saying the same thing here, essentially. We're using you're the first one to use sport as a way of saying like that's how we learn lessons.
That applies to like life too.
But I don't feel like you don't have to view life in that way though.
Well, I mean, not everything, but I think when you're going up against somebody, whether it's for like a job interview, whether it's you're on the same sale. Like for example, when you're trying to sell something. So one company, for example, I'm going back through The Office. They sell paper.
Oh, the actual show.
Yeah. So if you're the company on the other side, you can buy paper. You can go from Staples, or there's some other big guy, or Dunder Mifflin. And so like if you're working for Dunder Mifflin, like you're in a war with Staples. You want to make such a great pitch to the client that they're going to choose you over Staples. So it's like
but on a fundamental level, I have a really big beef in terms of like societal structure on that kind of like mentality. I don't think competition is a good way to promote your economic structure.
No, but I don't want to get into
But I mean, there's no point in it,
because you're not a competitive person.
I mean, in sports, I am.
Without competition, there is no ingenuity.
False. There's no fact behind that.
What incentive do you have if you're not going to get anything?
To give your own life meaning?
No, I'm saying, what incentive do you have to create something if you're not getting anything in return?
You'll get something in return. We just have to change our principles of competition and just be like, well, do we turn it into a necessity? Do we need this?
Yeah, I mean,
There have been worker co-ops that are quite successful, not only in this country, but in other Nordic countries where most of the companies are built upon that structure.
no, Nordic countries, they're not socialists. They have social systems that people pay a lot of tax to,
But
they're fundamentally
neither is
capitalist.
this country, but we still have worker co-ops and
Yeah.
employee-ran businesses where it isn't just a bunch of dudes on old dudes on a board that don't have anything to do with anything.
But that's their choice to work there.
It's their choice to work there because we live under it. We can't not work. Because if we don't work, we don't get what?
Money, food, everything.
What else? Healthcare?
That's the most, some companies.
A lot of homeless people out there don't have healthcare.
Yeah, a lot of...
We commodify
most homeless people are mentally not there either. And they're all
a lot of them
are drug addicts.
Yeah, well, that's a tragic case of life, and they need proper housing and other facilities to help them live their dream.
We need to bring back asylums because half those people need to be institutionalized.
Probably.
But because we shut them down, they're on the streets, and
maybe.
No, we
but
do.
not in
We do.
that like dark term though.
What else would you call them?
I don't know. Frick, I had a point. We commodify water. Water is an essential thing.
It is your view that things should be free, right?
Certain things should not be.
But that is.
We should not have to pay for certain things.
Will you admit that is?
We can simplify our lives and make cost of life, view of life so much better if we didn't have to.
Okay, can I just get you to admit that is your personal view?
Yeah, it's my personal view. It's my political view.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's other people's views.
Yeah, that's not my view, but
no, I know, but like
I live in reality.
You're telling me that companies like Nestle, which take water from underdeveloped countries and sell it here in huge plastic bottles, and then we send those plastic bottles to landfills in other undeveloped countries. You think that is an ethical system?
Well, why are the countries underdeveloped?
Because of the example I just gave.
So you think it's on us that they're
We're
undeveloped?
exploiting those. We have a hand in that, and I think it's wrong of us to not say we don't have a hand in that.
Interesting.
Yeah, it really is.
As individuals, I think people are responsible for their own actions, and countries that are underdeveloped.
But would you say, like we do in most court cases in this country, would you say that private entities are their own individuals? Because we rule it that way a lot of the time.
I would, yeah.
Then those individuals need to be held accountable for all of the wrong that they've been doing in other countries, to our planet, and in our own country. Would you agree with that? If you have a negative influence on this country, you need to pay for it. You need to have some sort of consequences, right? Because what are we teaching our kids if we're not holding people accountable?
Well, it depends on priorities.
Priorities? What does that have to do with what? Elaborate. Or we can go back to Dickens. I don't know what's happening here.
You say a lot of crazy things that I don't agree with.
And so I would can see my point, though.
I'm not a global warming guy. I don't believe in it. There's a lot more to things than you say, so I'd have to verify. But
ditto. Yeah.
I think countries on the whole, they're responsible for themselves. And if, just because, let's say theoretically what you said is true about Nestle. It is their decision to sell us said containers, and it's their choice to take said containers back.
Yeah, take them back, not dump them somewhere. How many times have they flip-flopped exactly what is it recyclable material for?
The whole recycling thing's a fraud. It's like...
Well, in this state it is because we put it in the same dump.
No, I think like the report came out like a couple of years ago where it's like only like 5% of recyclable material is actually recyclable.
But they've told us, they've spoon-fed us that these certain things are always recyclable and they always change it.
Yeah. What's the government?
It's not just the government. It's also these entities that create these substances. We call it reusable.
Yeah, you just don't like corporations, do you?
No. Why would anybody in their right mind think that anyone who's basically there to profit off of your livelihood has my best interests in mind?
How do they?
What logical point?
Oh, Bo.
What logic does that
Bo.
use? None.
Oh my gosh, Bo.
But I will
Bo.
also admit that most governments don't have their people's interests in mind.
Okay,
I'm
Bo,
not that kind of fool.
let me ask you this.
I don't like power. Is what I'm getting at.
I know you don't. Okay, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
When I met you outside your apartment today, what were you carrying in your hand?
A lovely box of pizza.
Okay, what else?
Mail.
Yeah, what came in the mail?
Oh, a gift for Emma.
Okay, from?
Amazon.
Okay, now, I'm sure you're like, oh, Jeff Bezos is the worst. Okay, Sure, he makes a little bit of money off that. But your life's enriched. Emma's life's enriched.
Sure.
Win-win situation.
It is. But I also understand when I need to buy specific LED lighting that hooks up to the TV that Emma likes. I mean, I have to say
that validates my point.
It does in a sense, but like we all have to make that sacrifice. We still live under we still live under a certain system, and I need to participate in it. I mean, I don't need to get that specific thing, but like I have to be a participant in the society in order to achieve anything.
Yeah, you have to live in reality.
I don't think I need to be forced to do it. I willingly did it, and I had to sacrifice my moral view because, I don't care for Bezos, personally. But I specifically need that business.
Let me ask you this. When you go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you have to eat, right?
I do have to eat. Can't look like this if I don't eat. Benching 315.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yes, it is.
So let's say you want to go buy a head of lettuce.
Head of lettuce. Yeah.
So you pay whatever price the lettuce is.
Yep.
You voluntarily do that. The store gets the money. They're enriched. The farmer is enriched. You're allowing him to survive. You're letting the store survive. Same principle.
Right, but that's also sustenance. Lettuce has dietary value.
But you still made a choice to buy it.
Yeah. Because if I don't buy food, I starve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same principle.
Yep. Look at what that quote did. And you're telling me you got nothing out of Dickens.
Nothing.
Well, you did today.
This is the same conversation we've had. Probably 10th time we've had it.
Yeah, but you know what? The people like this.
That they do.
I was really nervous. I got a lot of positive feedback, and that astounds me from that last episode.
Yeah. Were any of them on my side? Or are they all like you commie friends?
No.
Were they only like
I didn't think
like Lenin, Petrograd?
None of them really said anything. Whether like
Putin.
One of my friends said
Castro.
that one of my friends said we both infuriated her, and I was like, "Oh, nice."
How can you not agree with either of those?
Well, I don't know. She got an interesting worldview.
Is it your German friend?
Yeah. She's like not apolitical. Maybe not a moralist. What is it? I don't know. She's a very good median kind of person.
Independent?
Very much so.
Yeah.
Okay. Let us... I have a quote here. This is from a scholarly article that I've been kind of pulling from, where I have it written down.
Yeah. For the record, for the listener, even though I'm not a fan of Copperfield, I'm very aware of its literary significance. So I'm just crapping on it personally.
So these two quotes...
You have nothing to say to that? Okay.
No, I don't. This is from a... Sorry, I was like focusing on this. This is a scholarly article by Bert G. Hubeck. Frustration and Resolution in David Copperfield. Most work before David Copperfield, characters try to force meaning of life. David Copperfield attempts to find, or finds, and attempts to accept a much greater and more satisfactory solution. He finds the solution primarily in the careers of Tommy Traddles, and David himself, each of whom orders reality not by changing or reforming it, but by comprehending and accepting it in all its complexity. Would you agree that what we've read thus far lines up with that? That David's really not even trying to change the society in which he lives in, but he's really just trying to understand what the heck is happening.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I would say he's trying to survive.
Yeah.
But
most of the time he's
going
questioning
through life.
Absolutely everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think that lines up. I think that's pretty much hitting it on the head.
Like a hammer.
Yep. Let's see. Another one is the story of David's progress is in one sense quite a simple one. As a child, David is required to relinquish his innocence, and the world which he meets beyond this innocence contains all of the evil which the novel describes.
Mm-hmm.
For David, time does not stand still, as it did momentarily in his childhood, in his first innocent infatuation with Emily. The days sported by us as if time had not grown up himself yet, but were a child too, and always at play. This is a quote from the novel.
Okay.
So, do you think that Dickens is trying to be radical with this text?
With the quote or with the book overall?
Book overall.
Not really.
Yeah.
To me, it's just like a autobiography, day in the life kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't gravitate towards those.
So yeah, I wouldn't view this as some radical thing. I mean, I in terms of like,
it's just some kid who grows up and he goes through different seasons of life, and
But
life's tough, so he encounters difficulties and he works through them, and
he's trying to forgive himself. He's trying to forgive himself through us as an audience.
yeah, I mean, possibly.
Yeah.
I mean, you're probably right.
More than likely.
More than likely. Given you're a much bigger fan of it than I am.
I think everyone.
I understand it a lot better than me.
I think everyone can tell.
Yeah. From my lack of discussion about the novel.
Do I have another one?
If you're out there, I'm sorry.
No. We're learning as we go along.
Yeah, I can't.
We're the most organic podcast.
Yeah, you know what? I'm being
of
honest.
Literature. Other people are sponsored. Other people's have quotas, and other people try to tell you how to read the New York Times bestseller. We're telling you how to read
the OG bestseller.
old books. OG bestseller.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
I feel all right. Pretty tired. It's getting a little bit late.
It is.
Yeah.
You want me to open that?
I do.
All right.
This is
not for me to keep.
Not for you to keep. I don't even own it. I borrowed it.
Who'd you borrow it from?
The public library.
Hey.
Can you catch?
Yes.
You sure?
No. Yes.
This might be something for spring break.
No way.
And Bo is opening it.
Como estas?
Hey.
No chase, winger.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, boy. 439 minutes long.
All black and white. Can you guess the film if you're out there?
By the incomprehensible
Belatar.
Belatar.
Give you a hint. He's a Hungarian filmmaker that you've never heard of.
Satan Tango.
You know what I was thinking? I don't know. Well, for sure, we had to watch it over spring break.
Oh, yeah.
We got to get PJ's donuts or beignets.
Yes.
Do it. But I was thinking, all his films are based off novels by the Laszlo guy. It just says on the back. But we should read the novels. They're like pretty short, though. I think they're all of them like 300 pages.
Is that the guy that wrote The Master and the Marguerite?
I think so. Yeah.
I have that one. Yeah, we can read that. I'd love to read that.
But I mean, like this, he wrote. Actually, I think Workmeister Harmonies was a different author, but
Coming to Criterion next month.
oh yeah,
Yeah, boy.
And if you have never heard of Workmeister Harmonies, which I'm assuming most of you have not, it is unreal.
You gotta watch it.
You gotta watch it.
Oh,
I got bow hooked on it.
It's got one of the most beautiful opening scenes.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
Well, and
if you like static, long takes,
you'll love it.
you'll adore it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's that take. I mean, just the score is incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, this is beautiful.
I want to talk about brooding.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about like the stereotypes that like black and white foreign films have,
This would be it.
that's it.
All of his films have it.
Every dialogue is like a hidden metaphor.
Yeah.
No one says what they actually mean.
Yeah.
God, dude, this is gonna be awesome.
I know.
Satan Tango. Satan Tango.
I think it literally translates to Satan's Dance, I believe. But
Seminal work of slow cinema.
yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
If you like Tarkovsky, I'm pretty sure you're like Workmeister Harmonies.
Yeah.
Have you watched any Tarkovsky?
No, I've always wanted. I mean, I always want. I was.
Take
I can't
it.
even talk. I'm so tired. No, I really want to watch Battleship Potemkin. That's his big one.
That's not him.
It's not. Who's that?
That's
It's another
Sergei
Russian dude.
Eisenstein.
Oh, that's right. What Tarkovsky do?
Stalker, Solaris,
You know,
Ivan's
I think
Childhood.
you know what? I think I've seen Solaris. I don't remember it, but I think I've seen it.
Not the George Clooney one.
No.
I own pretty much all of Tarkovsky's stuff except for Nostalgia, I think.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorite directors. I studied the crap out of him when I was in film school. Like, I wanted to be a perfect mix of Tarkovsky and David Lynch. I think like most pretentious freaking dudes in film school. But when you're ready to watch and get into his stuff, just like David Lynch and Akira Kurosawa, come over. I got the new TV.
Boom.
It'll look gorgeous.
Yeah, I'm still going through Kurosawa. I mean, it's actually I haven't watched any of his stuff for a few months because I'm still in the old phase because it's like the crappy black and whites where it's like sketchy and grainy. And
you have to get it through because he's at a specific time period where it's like quantity over quality for a little bit. But once he hits his stride, you're gonna see. Yeah. Everything changed at this point.
I think I'm like 6 or 7 films before.
Seven Samurai.
I think so. Yeah.
Seven Samurai is just beautiful. So
Seven Samurai, Rashomon, Ron.
Throne of Blood.
Yeah.
Hidden Fortress.
Boom.
High and Low.
Yeah. Speaking of high and low, do you know there's a really cool coffee shop downtown called High Low?
No.
Yeah.
We should go there.
It's in Midtown.
We need to go to Protagonist.
We do. I've been on a couple dates there. It's a cool place.
Stop bringing people on dates there. It's not working out.
It's clearly not working out. Yeah.
All right. Well, that was part 2.
That was
part 1.5.
1.5.
Just like Lion King, baby.
So
Timon and Pumbaa over here discussing David Copperfield.
We'll try to get a couple brief inquiry episodes out in the meantime, but
yeah, it's Brett's turn this time.
To pick? Yeah, it is, right? It's my turn.
No, not to pick. To make. I picked the last one. Or I made the last one.
Yeah, meaning you picked the quotes, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So the next full episode will probably be, I don't know, shoot for, at this point, I don't know, maybe June.
May.
We'll shoot for May.
I'm going May. But I'm almost 100 pages ahead of you, though.
Yeah.
I'm going May.
Yeah, but
I see the tunnel. I see the light. You
do always overestimate the reading speed, though, because I remember you're like with the recognitions, like, oh, we'll be done by Christmas, or whatever.
Yeah, we weren't done till spring.
Yeah.
No, I said February.
Yeah.
I think I said February for this as well.
No, and you're like with this, like, oh yeah, we could finish it by Christmas break. I'm like, yeah, I doubt it.
I probably could have.
You could have. I can't. I'm too busy.
I was pacing myself.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to get through something that you're not really enthralled about.
That's true. And it's been a tough season. It's been a tough semester so far.
Yeah. I just, I'm in this moment where I'm not reading anything I love.
What are you reading right now?
I'm reading this. Well, fiction-wise, Dune. Not a fan of that. Augustus by John Williams. So even though Stoner and Butcher's Crossing are amazing books, these are written. Augustus was written kind of the style of like letters from the Greek days, and so it's not the same diction, not the same prose. It's, you know, so and because there's a zillion characters, I can't keep them all straight because they all end in is. Claudius, Augustus, Tavius, and they're all from different times. So one letter will be from like 30 BC, and the next one will be from like 13 AD. It's like you can't keep them straight.
I'm reading The Devil in the White City because I was like, I need a nonfiction fix real quick. Yeah, that's fine. In terms of pacing structure, it's not good.
Yeah,
I like the content. I'm learning a lot. It's just like you can tell he knows a lot about the architectural building of the World's Fair,
Chicago,
and then you can tell he kind of is just taking like literary leaps on H.H. Holmes. And it's just like I kind of like the tonal changes, but I also is just kind of like.
Well, I mean,
it's like when your car is just jump starting. You know, you can't.
Yeah, I mean, Eric Larson kind of has his own style, his own niche market, where it's like.
I'm also reading Post Office by Bukowski.
It's a great one.
Yeah, Bukowski's fine. I think his poetry is a little bit better.
Yeah,
this one is just kind of like boozy misogyny.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He was.
He wasn't that great. He was an interesting kid.
I mean, he literally wrote a book called Diaries of a Dirty Man.
Yeah. He got put on the FBI list. Did you know that?
Really?
He got put on the FBI list because of that.
Honestly, I'm kind of ashamed to admit, but I found it at a thrift store, and I was like...
You didn't buy it, did you?
I actually did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
For how much?
I think it was like $1.
There you go.
Yeah. It's like, whether I actually read this or not, I don't know. I don't know if I can morally bring myself to read it, but I have the option.
Why not?
I mean, he was a very influential writer. I think.
Oh, they study him for a reason.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's not like he's a bad writer. It's just kind of
he's one of those writers where he's intentionally rough.
Yeah, I mean that's the point. He's talking about low class society, right? Like, so I think I get it. I get that point.
Yeah,
it's just also kind of like, ugh.
Yeah.
How can you view things like that, man?
I know.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah.
But oh well. You learn.
He was a very depressed man.
Oh my God, yeah. He went through it. His life was dark.
Yeah.
That might be another discussion for another day. Do a deep dive into Bukowski.
Ooh.
That's what we should do. We should do a deep dive into an author we both admire.
Yeah, I mean...
Leave us an email or a comment on anything.
Thing is, I don't...
To say, well, who should we do a deep dive on? I still need to do the Kinks episode because it does go in tandem with Copperfield.
Yeah.
That's coming. Don't worry, everybody. I understood the pull. No one wants to hear me talk about Joe Strummer. Everybody wants the Kinks.
I don't know if there's any authors, though, that I've, read enough of and know enough background to be able to have a episode on.
I love doing the background research, though. We could do Vonnegut one day.
Yeah.
We could do Ayn Rand one day.
After we read.
Ayn Rand, you know? Ayn Rand?
She was Russian, so she didn't talk like that, but, you know.
I don't even know what kind of voice that is. I just wanted to sound pretentious.
You did. No, I'm super excited for the Magic Mountain. Apparently it's the German version of Atlas Shrugged. What'd you pick for... Did you get asked for what your favorite novel is by the librarians?
No.
Oh.
What?
Yeah,
What was this?
Yeah, a few weeks ago. They have this thing up where a bunch of teachers, basically students have to guess teachers' favorite novels, so guess what mine is?
What is it?
Atlas Shrugged.
Oh, dang it. Yeah, I knew that,
Yeah.
of course. Fuck.
Yeah.
Frick.
And then some kid asked me, I've never even met her before. She's like, Hendrix, what's your favorite novel? I'm like, she's like, I'm doing it for the contest. I was like, well, should I really be telling you?
Right.
She told me something else I couldn't understand, so I was like, yeah, Atlas Shrugged.
No, I didn't know about this. I delete a lot of emails.
Well, you might not have actually been invited, so.
That's true.
I don't
That's
know.
fine.
Yeah, but to be fair,
one
of my supervisions is in the library, so I'm getting to know the librarians.
There we
so
go.
That's probably why.
I don't have supervision.
Well, you kind of do.
I do, actually. It's kind of... Anyway, enough about work.
Yeah. Yeah. We will hopefully try to get a brief inquiry episode out next few weeks, and Until then, reach out to us. The offer still stands if you direct message us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at OnceUponATome22.
And Instagram at OnceUponATome22, which there's been a few of you I talked to. We will send you some.
Or feel free to email us, onceuponatome22@gmail.com. Shout out to my buddy Ryan.
Yes.
We sent him a few cards. Oh, I forgot to tell you this, Bo.
What?
So I mailed him the cards, and they just threw standard mail. He just lives in Denver. It literally took 3.5 weeks for them to get there.
Oh Lord. Oh my.
Yeah, they weren't in his mailbox till he went with me to Miami till he got back. We mailed it. It was postmarked January 19th, and we left Miami on February 6th.
Oh my.
I was literally about to send him a new batch when he texted me. He's like, "Got the cards." Like, okay.
Dang. Well, I have all my cards in that closet over there.
Boom.
So we got so many handy, but just don't be asking me for any Nolan Ryan cards.
Nope.
You might get a rookie Sammy Sosa card.
Before he was white.
Before he was on the juice.
You got my reference though, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Tragic. Sad.
Yes. Well, he's still got money.
Yeah, he does. Anyway.
All right. Anything else, Bo?
No.
All right. Well, we'll see you next time, or you'll listen to us next time.
Yeah. Stay safe. Have fun. Let us know what you're reading.
Don't do drugs.
Yeah.